So welcome. This is the consortium update. We've got slides and everything. So for those of you who may not have heard much of this story before, this is still true. If you've heard it before, this is still true. So the iRODS Consortium is an entity that exists under the Renaissance Computing Institute, which is one of 60 or 70 research institutes at UNC in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Anytime that we sign documents, paperwork, there is no legal entity other than the university. So we are all state employees. We work for the university. And obviously this organization is not even an organization, it's a nonprofit. And this is a consortium of members. And we provide support and services and try to keep the lights on. Our mission is really just about making this thing better over time. Continuous improvement is our mantra, and our goal is to grow the community over time. We think that as the pie gets bigger, that's good for everybody. Our job is really to hear the stories from you and to find the commonalities and to try and standardize the things that you're doing in a way that you don't have to continue to solve these problems one by one by one. We do that through talking to each other, really, a lot of email. And otherwise, generally showing value to the membership, both by showing up and being present, and then of course by providing technical solutions when something specific is needed by your particular deployment. Everybody's installation is different. Everybody has different existing infrastructure that we need to coordinate and talk to. And so again, it's always special, no matter where we go, but we do look for the commonalities in those stories and try to make them a little less special and a little less different as much as possible. We've been doing this particular version of iRODS for about 10 years with the consortium. So founded in 2013, the DICE group originally was in California, and this was a research project and funded for a number of years. And then once the funding models needed to change because the funding institutions decided that it was no longer a science project, it became an engineering exercise, they didn't want to give you any money anymore. So the model has to change. And so now we're a consortium. So thank you all for being here and being a part of this. The code base was transitioned into the consortium kind of ownership in 2014, shortly after the consortium was created. And I think this is true. We didn't actually go back and count. It might be 43, 42. It's hard to keep track now of this is the iRODS core server, a number of releases over the years. This slide, I believe, is current. I think we're up to 31. Don't count them. It's about right. Membership is largely 3 different types of organizations, 3 categories. We've got people doing science, which is great. We've got storage vendors who want to sell their things into the places that are doing the science. They have to write their science down. And then we've got technology integrators who, after learning about what we do, they become kind of the boots on the ground around the world, because we are only 5, 6, 8, 10 people and can't do all of the support on the ground all the time. And so we teach them, and then they kind of hold some contracts, and we might be a pass-through, like a tier 3 support kind of situation. And that's working out as well too. So thank you all for being here. In the last year, we've had 25 membership renewals and 5 new members. So if you add them up, that's about 30. So the math is so far checking out. We've had 6 new support contracts, which in our universe is kind of the funnel into membership if we do everything right and everything works. So hopefully maybe next year we'll have 6 new members. Famous words. We have also done lots of proofs of concept, and that's kind of the step, either maybe even before a service contract. We've actually attended virtually or in person 19 conferences and events in the last year, which is a very large number since there's only 12 months. I don't remember all of those, but I think that's a true number. I counted them. And then apparently we have 1 new executive director and 1 new chief technologist. That would be the 2 of us. The 5 new members, we have 1 super secret anonymous member. That's actually the 4th on our list. If you look back at the logos, We tried to get them uncloaked over time, but for various reasons, they may find it to be a technical advantage to be a secret or whatever reason. And then we've got Imagine IT, which is a contractor. They largely do work in and around DC. And Omnibond, which is a software development company. They've got a cloud services. They're interested in being kind of a technology integrator around the world as well. CSIR, which is a governmental technical group in South Africa, has joined. We're very excited. We've been talking to them for many years. And Infinite Tactics is another integrator. They do a lot of Department of Defense work. And so they find what we do very interesting because they can compile it themselves and put it in their little private cloud and sell it to people, which is great. The working groups, we keep adding them, which I think is good. Eventually, some of them should be finished with their work. The technology working group is everybody. So that's kind of our standing one that started from the beginning. Our metadata templates working group, we hope to finish that work up pretty soon. That one's the longest running one, kind of special purpose. We've designed many things and tried a few things and then decided that boiling the ocean is hard. So we're going to write all that down and tell you what we're not going to do. And that's going to be our statement to the world, as well as providing some building blocks for doing that work itself. The authentication working group has had great success in the last year, and you'll hear more about that this week. I don't think it's going to get spun down, but the bulk of its work as defined at the beginning is now done. S3 working group had a couple strong starts, and then the internet keeps moving. So we've still got work to do there. And then the imaging working group has been the surprise star in the last year. We kind of spun up a couple conversations, and then within 2 or 3 weeks, we had 30 different organizations, largely people that are not necessarily in the room here or existing iRODS users, who showed up and said, oh, yes, we want that. So the Omero environment is an open source microscopy imaging platform, basically a UI into microscopy images. And its data management is that it writes it down on disk where it runs. And so obviously that's a bit limiting once you have bigger pictures and lots of them. And so we said, oh, yes, we have a solution for that. And I don't want to make a GUI for talking to microscopes. So it's a nice marriage to try and get these to work together. And all of these groups around the world immediately showed up and said yes. So we've actually put in a proposal to the CZI, the Chan Zuckerberg initiative, for some funding in the next year or two. And that might actually just get paid for, which is weird. We haven't asked for proposals for money in a long time. This past year, I guess, and next year, same thing. We are starting to work a little bit more on getting localized user groups stood up and helping facilitate that. Obviously, it's a global effort, but local groups need sustainability as well. And so it's an ongoing puzzle to try and figure out. It's not really going to be the same everywhere. It's going to depend on pretty much the personnel at each place, but we have a strong impact in the UK, strong impact in the Netherlands. Here in Belgium now, we've got a footprint. And so I think as we start to spin these up a little bit more, we'll have local stars that can take some of our questions and take some of the load as well. We are restarting being physically in other places, carefully, tenderly. And then lots of our partnerships have turned into memberships as well. So like you said on the slide before, EIT, CSIR, and Infinite Tactics are now members. That was work that's been going on for more than 12, 18 months. There's a couple more on here that we think might be tricked into joining us here in the next few months as well. And then obviously we've got lots of RINCI proposals internal to our own. One of our own missions at RINCI is to help the people of North Carolina. So lots of data management opportunity close to home as well. And so those don't show up as much on the global scale, but they're just as impactful for the people that we work with every day. And so again, here, my job now is to sell things to you and make sure that you continue to keep the lights on for us. And so, yes, we start with proofs of concept. Like I said, this is usually a funnel. It's very hands-on, it turns into a contract perhaps. And then of course, into membership at everyone's comfort level and what makes sense for the different groups involved. Tier 3 support is the thing that's kind of coming along and might actually be the one that keeps the most lights on. Because if there's no bugs, we don't have to do any work, but we still get paid. That's the way it should work. And so that's between different vendors and technology integrators. That's the future probably. Are there any questions about any of that? And otherwise, thank you.